Hello there, welcome to my channel. Now, as a developer, you want to do the minimum amount of work. You don't want to sort of reinvent the wheel. So I was working on a project and I thought to myself, it was in MVC, C Sharp, and I'll briefly describe it. It's one of them projects where the user has a lot of stuff on the screen and they might click here, they might click there, they might click there, they might click there, then the database gets updated with that information that they click. And then that causes a task to run, and depending on what they click, records in the database will get altered. So it's one of them projects where if it was a normal app, they'd click here, then it would refresh, click here, then it would refresh and send some data, click here. Okay, now I could have done it with JavaScript. For example, click here and that would just send a JavaScript request off and update the API. Okay, so, but what it is, you'd also have to get records and put them on the screen, and then you'd have to update some of them, and they may ask for other things. So I thought to myself, first I was going to do it with a normal MVC, and then I thought to myself, if I do a normal MVC, it will be fine. But I thought to myself, I may, at the start of the project, I thought to myself, I may have a lot of computation to do. I don't really want to do it on the server, so I thought to myself, that's when I had the thought of doing it client side. So when I've thought about this, what I wanted to use was React. But obviously React hasn't got a model, as you know. And this kind of thing is a sort of thing where you get data, you have to save data back to the API. And because of that, not having a model is a bit of a pain. So I thought to myself, if it did have a model, then I'd probably write more. I'd probably write more apps with it, because when you think about it, a lot of apps that I write, I could probably say, okay, just make them an API and client side, and then the server won't get a lot of load on it. So anyway, I thought about this, and then I said I'd do it, and I thought to myself, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So I looked at the internet, can backbone models be with React? Now, I found a lot of articles. Some of them were people who were using Backbone, and then they wanted to use React components. So what they did, they sort of integrated React Backbone views with React components. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to use Backbone and then in the view have a React component. I want to use React and then just have a Backbone model. That's what I want to do. I don't want to use anything else with Backbone. Now, the simplest example I found was this one here. Now, that is the parent component, and that is the child component. Now, if I open up the child, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here. All of this. So what it's doing is making this a this one. He's going to talk to the model. So what he's doing here is, on the model side, he's putting these events Okay, and it's passing in the props. So this is the model, and it's putting these events on the model. And now if I look at the list, this is the collection. So you got a model, for instance. Okay, sorry to give you one of these. Just one of them is the model. The entirety of this, there is 500 items. That is the collection. So a collection is a lot of models in an array. So what you need a model. That means one of the items. Then a collection is all of them. So what he's done here is, which is not quite normal. This is one item, which is the component. Okay. So he's sort of matched the model. He's got the add. No, this is that's the collection. He's got the change on there. So whenever there's a change, this. And on here, this is the collection. So he's got add, remove, and really, you should have reset here, because someone might reset it, and then you need to pay attention to it. So I looked at this and I thought to myself, this is absolute garbage. Because what if I had a lot of, sometimes you might have 5 components, or sometimes you might even have 10. Well, 10's a bit too much probably, but sometimes you might have 3 components. And imagine having to do all of this in all the components, and you've got all these listeners, and you just lose track of them. And you've got this here, and how much changes will it do? You don't, because what it is, I know React is quite clever in the sense that even if you've done 100 updates, it will sort of ignore some of them. It will probably ignore all the unnecessary ones and only do one update, but still, this is just like garbage. So what I did, I thought to myself, I went to bed, I thought, you know what? The project that I'm doing, it's not going to hurt me if I just do it in strictly Backbone. It's not going to be any hassle at all. However, it would have been nice for me to do it in React, because I would have got the benefits of the React. So what I did is I went to bed, and then I woke up the next day. I thought, wait there. I thought, why don't I just try it myself? Because what it is, when you look at the internet, you see all these articles, and you just assume that everyone's an expert. And most of the times, they probably are novices, or they don't know much. So what it is, you're so used to reading these articles, and I looked for this answer a lot of places, and no one had there wasn't any simple example. There's lots of had some mixins, had this. In fact, a lot of them were using Node.js, but what it is, there's a lot of ways to do it, but I think most of the ways, can you see here? He's passing the collection in through the props. So this is normal for React to pass it into the props. Okay, so that's okay. Now here, he's passing, that's the item one. He's passing the model in through the props. So again, this is normal. And he's also using will mount, did mount, and unmount. So this is all normal. So this is normal. This example, the only thing that's not normal is he's got all of this here. And then I thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself. I want to see why has he got this? Why has he got this here? Why has he got all of these here? Is it necessary? And actually, if I delete it, I can understand it being like that. It doesn't seem to make a difference, but obviously I have to test it. But obviously, I don't think it makes a difference if I deleted them. But the way he's written this, I could test it, but I'm not going to test it. But anyway, I assume you're watching this video because you want to know how to an easy way to do this, and I'm gonna show you an easy way. Now this is my example. Now first, I needed some data, and what it is, I could have connected up to like this is an API. I could have connected up to this API and then use this API and fetch the data, etc. But obviously, it's unnecessary for me to make it that complicated. So what I'm going to use is this is going to be my API, and I've got data in here. So this is my fake API. Okay. So I'm going to use this data, and as you can see, this data here matches this here. So what I do is I create a backbone model here. As I said, it's a single model for one single thing. I'll give it some defaults. And for some reason, whenever I do this and don't give it any defaults, it doesn't work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate that. If I do this, if I take the defaults out, it doesn't. Oh, it does work. So to be honest, I don't have to put defaults in, but I want to put them in because sometimes I might want to create an object without having to fill anything in. Oops, what am I doing? Okay, so this is the model, and it represents one model. Okay, now this is the collection, and how I normally do it is I do a collection that I tell it that the model is this. Okay, and then after I do that, I instantiate a new model, a new collection. And then what I do is profile list reset IBM list. So what this is telling it is, it's telling it that put this data in here, but obviously the data in here, all this data would have to match it will have to match this kind of data or it won't work. So that this reset populates the collection, and here I just do a little test, console log the length, and it's 4. So as you can see, it's 4 there, and that's the backbone model I'm going to use. So the first example I'm going to show you is how to do this in it. So it's just I'm just going to try and start as simple as possible now. So this is the parent, this is the parent component. Okay. Now I must admit I'm using rubbish names. Okay. Now this collection here called profile list, I'll pass it into. I probably don't have to do this, but it's normal practice in React to do this, so I've just done it. I haven't tested it. I was just doing this, so I just done the normal practice for React. So what I do is I pass that profile list into the Storybox component by using this attribute thing, which passes it as a prop. Okay, so that's how I pass it in. I pass it in here, and then as you can see, now that I've passed it in, I can use it here. So what I'm doing is, okay, I've done something here. If I do this, on the profile list, I can do that, and it outputs to JSON. It's just a case of doing profile list. There's a method on it that's going to output it to JSON into a JSON object, and then I can add it. I can add it to a variable, and then I can use it. So this line here, in this function here, I'm doing topic list equals this props models that get JSON. So that means in this topic list, it will contain this. And then I use the map function to return these. So it returns this here, as you can see. So this is all standard React practice, and it's called get. So if I go to the render function, okay, whenever a render gets run, what happens? It gets the date, which is this day here. Name list equals this dot get. So it gets that, it gets this JSON whatever, and puts it into name list. And then that's where the name list gets rendered on the page. That's here. And this is the time. So this is all standard. It's basically, this is all normal standard React. The only difference is I'm getting the data from a model. I'm getting it from the model. But as you can see, what I'm really doing is, all I'm really doing is doing profile list up to JSON, because Backbone models, you can take the data out of the model and do to JSON, and that will convert it to an object, so you can use it in, and that's what I'm going to use. That's what I use. So the only thing left for us to do is, we've done a simple example. Now we need to listen to changes. Now the other guy who's done that other one, what I've done is we're gonna use the backbone. We're gonna use the backbone model. We're gonna use the backbone model. So that means that in React, normally we will use the state, and we will, when the state changes, it will render. But what we really need to happen is we need it so that when the model changes, when the backbone model changes, we do a render. Now, add, that's on the collection. Reset is also on the collection. Remove, that's also on the collection. Change, that's on the model. However, in Backbone, when a model in the collection changes, you can listen to that as well. You don't have to, like in this example here, he's put some, he's got this is the model, and he's got all of this. He's got the, one sec, that's the collection. I thought I deleted it. I just remember I deleted it. Okay, there it is. On here, he's got the change on the model. However, it's unnecessary to do that. That's not how you'd want to program, because you only have to put a change on the collection. So all of this is just unnecessary. So that could be like that. Okay, so this takes care of the model, and what it does is it runs this function called this hand. This in fact is a property. Now I've done it like this because I just copied the other guy. I haven't tested it. I haven't tested why they has to use the property. However, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So I haven't tested that yet. But what this does is it calls handle change, which is a property. And if I go to the constructor, which is here, this handle change is a property, but this property runs this method. And this method, all it simply does is it does a console log that says model change detected, and then it does a force update, which is a built-in function for React that renders does a render. Now, when it does a render, normally, if you've got the parent component, React will automatically render the children as well, and that's how you want it to be. Now, for me to do that, I'm gonna have to create a child. So what I've done is I've created a child component called story box table, and what it does is going to create a table under here. Now I'm going to test it. Okay, now again, this one uses constant model equal this property JSON, so it just gets the data from the backbone collection, and then can you see this story box? It's got these attributes on it. It's got 1, 2, and 3. Now I think I could put an ID on this as well. Is it called ID? In fact, let me have a look. I can't remember what it's called, but I should put something else on there. Let me just have a look. Key. So I'm going to put a key on there. And I'm gonna change it to, I'm not gonna have that, I'm gonna have something else. I'm gonna have cool dot ID, and that's gonna be my key. Okay, so now what happens is I'm communicating with this child component using props. So as you can see, this key here, this parent model is going to get data from the backbone collection, and then it's going to pass the data to this child component. So basically, this child component doesn't have to know that it's getting data from a backbone model. In fact, none of the child components they don't have to be aware that it doesn't matter to them what they're using. So I can minimize it. We don't have to look at that anymore. So this passes data to it, and it gets the data from the backbone collection. Okay, so if I do get table, so if I go to render, I come to the app, I'm going to put it back in. Constant my table equals this dot get table. Okay, so I'm going to put the table here. I'm just going to put that. I'm going to just put that, and then it's going to just show a table there. And as you can see, it's done it. Now what we need to do now, we need to test that it's listening for the events. Now, this is now complete, and I'll show you the code, and I'm gonna put up a link to the code. The code is available. I'm going to leave the code here. I'm not going to touch it. So there you go. If you want to see the code, you copy it. You can get it there. So now I need to test it. I'm going to test it by, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test the reset. So I'm going to reset it with this data here. So what should happen is everything should disappear, and it should just be one model, because obviously this is only one model. So I paste that there, and I press enter, and as you can see, it done a render because it sensed that there was a reset. So that works. Now the next thing I want to do is I've just done that so I can get, I wanted to get it back to how it was. Now I'm going to do another test. I'm going to get the length of the, okay, so the length is 4. What I want to do now is remove, let me see. I'm going to alter one. So the way we alter it is first, this is all backbone now. First we get the one, which is number 2, which is the AngularJS. In fact, I'll do number 3. Let's get rid of VanillaJS. That's got the lowest score, so let's get rid of it. I mean, let's update it. So do that. And what that does, it gets me a single model. Now I can see what's in it by converting it to JSON. And in it, there should be one model. Now I'm going to set that. I want to change the URL. So I'm going to have to change the picture. I'm going to change it to HTTP Mozilla.com. Now I'm doing a change on the model here, and as you can see, I'm listening for a change on the model. So this is a change. Now, even though I'm in a collection, that model is part of the collection. So when I change this model, it should register to the collection that there's a change, so I can listen to that change and do something. So when I do this, it should update. In fact, it's going to update this one. So let's change. Let's change that link. Now when I press this, it should update AngularJS. I thought I was using a 0 index, that's why I got this one, but anyway. Now if it does this, then that's good. As you can see, I've done it. and it's updated it there. In fact, I'm gonna do another update. I'm gonna update the rating to something that is more something else. Let's see what happens here now. Rating. Oops, let's get rid of that. So now we'll be able to see. Now this is the child component. I mean, that is the child component, and that is the parent component. Now it should update in both places. So I'm going to press it now. And as you can see, that worked. So as you can see, I think this is the correct way to, well, I'll be honest, I haven't tested it because I have to sort of, there's other options I could do. This works, but what I could also do is, I could put all of this in a class. For instance, in fact, could I do that? I could put all of this in a class. I could leave it as it is and pass it through the props, or I could put it I can put all of this backbone stuff in a class, and I can have a property here called backbone model, and I can instantiate that new property, the backbone model, and then I could then I'll do something like this dot model dot. I could do it. There's lots. What it is. I haven't tested. I just wanted to see it working. So what I did is I took the shortest route, and that was to just copy that other guy's thing. But obviously, I think I know backbone better than him, because he wouldn't. If he knew it, he wouldn't. He wouldn't have. He wouldn't have done this. All this, because what it is, if I this was send. I think this was send a double change. Like, if he changed it here, it would do one change, then it would do another change in the model. In fact, he wouldn't. It wouldn't do a double change. What am I talking about? Because he's only listening to add and remove, and he's not listening to reset. So he wouldn't do a double change. However, you'd have to put all of this into each child component, and to me, rather than doing this, I'd rather just have backbone by itself. But now that I can do it this way, I'm happy that I'll be able to use backbone with React models. Now, this was a very simple example. Okay, normally this will be an API, so all I have to do is put a URL in here, put a URL in here, and then this would be profile list fetch. Okay, I could also, there's lots of possibilities. I could also put this in the constructor and set it to run every couple of seconds, set it to run every 5 minutes, so that it will always, or a minute, or whatever I wanted. There's lots of options. However, what I'm going to do now is this project that I'm going to have to do, I'm going to do it in React, and I'm going to use the backbone model, because this is now usable in my opinion, where before it wasn't. Okay, now I'm going to end the video now. If you want to see this, if you want to copy my code, feel free to copy it. Here's the link. If you see any problems with this code, please inform me, and then I will update the video, do an update video. But to be honest, I think I think this way of doing it is quite good because it leaves React. Apart from where does it know that it's React? The only place that you know that this is Backbone is here. You pass it in there, and then what we do with it is when we use it, we just get the JSON out of the model. That's what we basically do. Okay, if we wanted to do an update, we can also do this props models dot set, and when we do that set, it's going to cause a render. You guys listen in here. Okay, so I'm going to end the video now, and I'm really happy that I'm able to use React and Backbone together to form a good coalition to form a very strong coalition of frameworks. Now, if you watch my videos, I always try to use, or I always, you know, I try not to reinvent the wheel. Also, I try to use the best frameworks, and to me, a good framework, you have to be able to play with others. Like React hasn't got a model. It didn't have a router, but I think it's got a router now. So the only thing it was missing was a model. And I thought to myself, why didn't they build a model? Why haven't they bought a model router? And I thought to myself, and then I thought to myself, well, maybe because a model is quite easy. Now what? Before I thought of this, I was going to use JavaScript and do a Java and make a model with JavaScript. But then I thought, Backbone's there, it's got everything. Why reinvent the wheel? So I think these two frameworks, they both play well with others. Also with Backbone you get underscore as well. So therefore I think these two together are very good. And to be honest, most of my projects I think I'll use these two. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Okay, bye.